like I should feel like I should feel like I should feel like I should go. Go. Feel like I should go. Feel like I should feel like I should feel like I should feel like I should go.
Suho hires hunters to pad numbers outside gates, raising suspicion since he raids alone and still earns money. Inside a C-rank gate, Suho defeats a massive spider-bug boss using his powerful dagger and ruler's authority, showcasing his evolving combat skills. Essel and Gray help collect materials and, surprisingly, begin leveling up despite not being system-registered players. After completing 2 raids, Suho leads them into a red gate inside the Shadow Dungeon, triggering an urgent quest. They're transported to a desert field dungeon in Egypt where Suho encounters 2 guilds, Ashura and the feared Scavenger Guild. Conflict erupts and Suho is forced to fight. After hesitating to kill, he realizes he must adapt to the brutal post-cataclysm world. Teaming up with Ryo from Ashura Guild, Suho unleashes his full power, surprising even A-rank enemies. Randolph of Scavenger Guild takes notice, intrigued by Suho's strength. The battle and Suho's transformation has only just begun. The battle between the 2 guilds continued inside the tomb. A member of the Scavenger Guild shouted that the Asura Guild was cooperating with another hunter party, to which his companion commented that weak beings joining together would still remain weak. He said they were stronger compared to them, and they were more numerous. There, while showing Ryo the Shadow Key, Suho said that they haven't revealed their full strength yet, though. After opening the Shadow Dungeon gate, he used Awaken, and the giant arachne and its spawns he killed earlier started coming out of it, scaring the enemies. Ryo was surprised and couldn't believe that despite Suho's martial arts prowess, he was also a summoner, and many of them were active simultaneously. After that, Suho cracked his knuckles and said he would join the charge too. The giant arachne immediately targeted the Scavenger Guild members, forcing their tanks to use their shields and protect themselves behind them. Randolph prepared to charge, and in an instant, he quickly jumped towards Suho's summon, and using just one swing of his warhammer, he easily destroyed it. He shouted afterward that Suho was hiding a lot, and how fun the battle was. Suho was irritated by this, while Beru explained that perhaps the giant arachne had become weaker after becoming a shadow soldier. But to defeat a monster that had given the young monarch trouble with just one blow was indeed attention-getting, which also made him comment that Randolph really seemed to be the strongest among them in that place. Suho was pleased because of the good timing and immediately told Gray to use their bond skill. Essel caught his attention and smilingly said just a moment. She suggested to him if they could use their bond skill instead, and pointed out that they had learned a method to increase the charging rate while they were going around the gate. While Gray was irritated at Essel's interruption, Suho said it was somewhat risky to use a skill he hadn't used in actual combat yet. Essel was disappointed by this, and commented that her chance of being useful to him had really decreased. Suddenly, something was destroyed behind her, and mummy monsters began to emerge from there. While blocking the charge of one of them, Ryo asked if they were attracted by the noise of their fighting. Essel informed them that those monsters were also at the entrance. Randolph thought about this and commented that now he truly understood the prophecy his boss had heard. In his mind, he deduced that if the dead being raised referred to the mummies, it meant that the being mentioned there was inside this dungeon, the being born of death that broke the seal. He added that his boss's order was to take ownership of the dungeon, but because the competition between the 2 guilds was heating up here, just obtaining the power to raise the dead that his master wanted would be more appropriate now. Suddenly, his eyes gleamed while watching Suho fight, and he became reluctant to back off at this point. After staring at him, he closed his eyes briefly to think. While this was happening, we shifted to a completely shocked Ryo, because he heard Randolph shouting for the members of the Scavenger Guild to follow him, and not to mind the other hunters but to go straight to the boss room. Ryo also quickly shouted to inform his companions about the move the Scavenger Guild was making, but just as he was saying to stop them, they were stopped by numerous mummies rushing at them. Here Ryo noticed that they were using these monsters to keep them busy, and he was irritated that coincidentally, the path to the boss was on their side, to which Suho commented that at this rate, they might also lose the reward. He shouted to Gray to use their bond skill, and after they merged, he faced a bigger mummy compared to the others there. The monster tried to attack him, but using his speed, in an instant, he punched it 3 times in different parts of its body, and immediately followed with several more mummies. At that moment, he took down many monsters, which greatly surprised Ryo. He spoke to him to hurry up and finish them off so they could catch up to the Scavenger Guild. Ryo was completely amazed because he saw that not only could Suho summon, but he could also merge with them. While Essel was just crying in sadness because Suho wasn't using their bond skill, in the next scene, while heading to the boss room, Randolph thought that Suho seemed to be hiding more. He wanted to fight him after getting the power to raise the dead. Before long, they reached a metal gate, so he wondered if this was the boss room. When this door opened, they saw inside a monster chained up using numerous glowing chains. One member commented that it looked like the boss, while another asked if it was sleeping. While looking at it, Randolph wondered why it was chained up. He thought this might be what the prophecy referred to, as the being that's born of death that would emerge after the seal was broken. The monster then began to speak in a strange language, which made one member ask if it was monster language and if it was trying to talk to them. The monster paused briefly when it noticed something, and before long it started speaking again, while forcefully breaking the numerous chains on its body. Randolph shouted for his companions to prepare for battle because of this. When the monster removed the chains, it used them as whips and lashed them at the scavenger guild. After that attack, only Randolph remained, and the monster began walking toward him. Fear was visible on Randolph's face as he thought about how their tanks, known for their toughness, were taken down after the monster just swung those chains around. As it approached him, the monster raised both its hands and exposed its entire body. This made Randolph think if it was telling him to attack it. He bit down hard when he realized this and said all of them were just looking down on him. Due to his frustration, he used his skill called Giant's Armor to buff himself. After that, he tried to strike the monster's side, causing a large shockwave. However, the monster didn't even move slightly, nor did it sustain any wounds on its body. Randolph became even more frightened because his all-out attack did nothing. The monster spoke again while preparing to punch, and Randolph began to apologize to his master. He said he should have waited for him to come here. The monster made a fist, and using a powerful punch, it sent Randolph's body flying to the top of the room's door, and also almost obliterated his entire abdomen. Next, we were made to understand what the monster was saying, and it was disappointed that the first living being it saw was easily destroyed after it played with it for a bit. It just brushed it off and moved on, and said that it seemed there were still some living beings there. While leaving the room, it planned to have some fun using the other toys outside. In the next scene, we return to Suho, where he delivers a solid kick to a mummy, shattering its face. He commented in his mind that these creatures were endless, and thought that if that was the case, he would just use shadow extraction on them. However, when he tried to do so, a notification appeared, stating that old souls couldn't be extracted. This confused him, and he recalled that he couldn't use it on demons either, which made him comment that this skill had more restrictions than he initially thought. Suddenly, the ground beneath them trembled and began to break apart, startling the hunters. Giant centipede monsters emerged from below, alarming everyone present because they hadn't even finished dealing with the mummies yet. These beasts began to charge at the hunters, who used their respective speed to evade them. Essel moved quickly, attempting to pierce one of the centipedes with her spear, but her attack merely slipped off its body. She said her attacks weren't working because these creatures were too tough. Rio called out to Suho and pointed out that being overrun by monsters like in their current situation was bad. He was apparently extremely pissed at the Scavenger Guild after they stole the rights to a field-type dungeon, but he thought they should retreat now, to which Suho agreed that it seemed necessary. In Suho's mind, he mentioned that the urgent quest required him to resolve the cause of the dimensional crack, but he wasn't certain that the Scavenger Guild, who were trying to take down the boss, would allow him to clear that quest. He questioned himself if it was really okay to back out like this. Before long, the boss arrived in their area. As soon as it stepped on the ground, Rio immediately sensed immense danger, which made him turn toward the monster. He also noticed that this monster came from the path that the Scavenger Guild had taken earlier, and he was concerned that there was yet another problem adding to their situation. In Suho's situation, he said that perhaps it was due to the increase in his sense stat after leveling up, but he could definitely feel that this extraordinary monster with the red name, the Prisoner of the Tomb, Ammut, was a calamity unlike any other he had sensed before. As the boss approached them, it suddenly uttered the words, "disappear," which caused the mummies' bodies to twitch. Essel was surprised because they stopped attacking. She was bewildered about why the mummies suddenly retreated after hearing the monster's voice telling them to disappear suddenly. Ammut jumped in front of Essel, causing Suho to shout in concern. Ammut spoke to Essel and pointed out that what she was hearing from him was monster language. So he asked if she understood his words, to which Essel agreed, and introduced herself as a member of the demon race. Ammut laughed and said that the only things he saw every day were the dead who lacked intelligence and bugs strewn about the desert. It had been so long since he had faced an individual he could talk to. While Essel was wondering why the monster was friendlier than its appearance suggested, a centipede monster tried to rush her. However, the dungeon boss himself killed that monster using just a single swing of his hand. Essel was completely shocked when she saw him one-hit the centipede. After that, Ammut said that before they could talk, it seemed he needed to clean up the monsters that didn't understand when he ordered them to leave. In an instant, the boss vanished from Essel's sight, and he took down each of the giant centipedes, with just one strike each. Suho was amazed. That one monster was killing other monsters. While Ammut was taking down one beast, a centipede managed to get behind him and swallowed his body whole. However, he repeatedly attacked the insides of this monster, and before long, he easily blew its face apart with his attacks. He also commented, as their blood dripped down his face, that he hated bugs. Shock and confusion were visible on Ryo's face, and those of his guildmates. He questioned why a monster so powerful that it could kill countless centipede monsters in the blink of an eye was here. He was definitely sure that this field-type dungeon was ranked ECE, according to their investigation. After Ammut finished off the monsters, he said that it seemed there were still beings there who couldn't communicate with him. He prepared himself, and in a swift move appeared beside Ryo, ready to attack while saying, "They should die." Ryo managed to react and tried to block with his two swords, while Essel screamed in alarm. Fortunately, Suho rushed in. Using his fist imbued with ruler's authority, he punched the advancing boss in the face. Suho questioned what was wrong with this monster's sense of values, wanting to kill them just because they couldn't communicate with him. Ammut was intrigued that there was a human who could speak his language. He brought up what Suho said about values and pointed out he had never considered such things. Afterward, he positioned himself and powerfully kicked Suho as a counter, and the force was so great that it sent rubble flying toward Ryo and his companions. Suho crashed into the wall, causing it to crumble and making him cough up blood. Essel screamed and cried in extreme concern when she saw this, and immediately confronted Ammut, calling him a bastard while asking, "How dare he do that to the young monarch?" which made the monster ask if Suho was her companion. Not much of an apology, Ammut said, but he wouldn't kill her. He added that if Essel was a member of the demon race, she should know a lot about this. It would be better if she could relieve his curiosity. Ammut asked Essel if the war between the Shadow Monarch and the other monarchs was over, and if it was, who had won? Essel commented in her mind, wondering what was with this monster, and was puzzled about how it knew about the war between the monarchs. While the unconscious Suho leaned against the wall, Ammut asked her again if she had no intention of answering, and if so, it couldn't be helped. It was also visible that Gray had lost consciousness, and Beru was trying to wake Suho up. The boss added that whether they were monsters who couldn't understand his language, or a demon who refused to answer him, if they couldn't converse, they all looked the same to him. Ammut raised his foot and prepared to deliver a foot stomp to Essel while saying she should die. Suho's consciousness seemed to partially return, and using his remaining strength, he struggled to access his reward for status recovery. His body began to regenerate, which made the monster turn toward him. He stretched at this point, while saying it was a good thing he hadn't touched his quest rewards. Next, he told the monster that if it was referring to the great war between the monarchs, he had heard a few things about it. He pointed out that all the monarchs died at the hands of the Shadow Monarch. He caught Ammut's interest, who asked if that was true, while Essel was completely shocked by what he did. Ammut then asked him if he meant that while he was trapped in this place, the war between the monarchs had already ended, to which Suho agreed. He thought to himself that if this monster was asking about the war between the monarchs, perhaps it was also a monarch's kin. He also realized that the strength of this alligator monster was at least equivalent to S rank, so even slight provocation would result in certain death. Ammut began walking towards Suho, while saying that in the end, the Shadow Monarch won the war. He added that if he killed all the monarchs, that meant Tarnac, the monarch of the Iron Body, died at his hands. He stretched after saying this, as if preparing for a fight.
Feel like I should, feel like I should, feel like I should, feel like I should go. Go. Feel like I should go. Feel like I should, feel like I should, feel like I should, feel like I should go.